Have you ever wondered why Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, chose to record the unlikely ballad, Blue Moon? What made this song go from being a source of irritation for one fan to becoming a cinematic epiphany? And what's the story behind Elvis's eerie and clippity-clop version of Blue Moon? Blue Moon, originally composed by the legendary songwriting team of Richard Rodgers and Lorenz Hart in 1933, was a Broadway gem that seemed an unlikely choice for Elvis during his Sun Records days in the mid-1950s. As Elvis was busy crafting his rockabilly style with hits like That's All Right and Blue Moon of Kentucky, how did this pop ballad find its way into his repertoire? It turns out that Elvis had a fondness for the song dating back to his teenage years in Memphis, where he likely heard it on the radio. In fact, according to biographer Peter Guralnick, Elvis was already singing Blue Moon when he first joined Sun Records in 1954. There's even evidence that Elvis, along with Scotty Moore and Bill Black, attempted to record it as a potential B-side to That's All Right in July 1954. However, the first and only verified recording session for Blue Moon took place on a memorable night at Sun Studio on August 19, 1954. The session featured only Elvis and his guitar, Scotty Moore, and Bill Black on bass, with Sam Phillips in the control booth. Music historian Colin Escott described the resulting version as eerie and clippity-clop, a unique interpretation that transformed the pop classic into a bluesy rendition. Elvis omitted the bridge and final verse, leaving behind a haunting 16-bar blues that resonated with a sense of melancholy. The slow tempo and Elvis's melancholic delivery made it impossible to retain the original happy ending described in Hart's lyrics. Surprisingly, Sun Records never released Elvis's version of Blue Moon. Instead, it was among the discarded recordings that RCA acquired when they signed Elvis in late 1955. It made its way onto Elvis's first RCA album in March 1956, along with 3 other Sun cuts. RCA later released Blue Moon as a single, backed by another Sun recording, Just Because, in September of the same year. Remarkably, Blue Moon began to stand out among the singles, with Billboard recognizing its growing popularity in its columns. Elvis's recording entered Billboard's Top 100 chart at number 87 in September 1956, marking the beginning of an unusual chart journey. Instead of following the typical pattern of rising and falling, Elvis's Blue Moon embarked on a roller coaster ride on the charts. It climbed to number 55 in its 3rd week, only to fall to number 84 shortly thereafter, before oscillating between the 60s and 90s for several weeks. The song even dropped off the chart entirely on 2 occasions, only to reappear a week or 2 later. Blue Moon ultimately exited the chart on February 9, 1957, concluding its chart performance. During its 17-week run on the Top 100, Elvis's rendition of Blue Moon never surpassed the number 55 spot. Nevertheless, it managed to outlast other hits like I Was the One and Blue Suede Shoes in terms of chart longevity that year. Elvis's version of Blue Moon is considered the song's first foray into the rock and roll genre. The song found renewed fame in April 1961 when the Marcels released a doo-wop version that sold over 1 million copies and dethroned Elvis's Surrender from the number 1 spot on Billboard's Hot 100. A few years later, Elvis had a subtle connection with the song in his 1964 film, Viva Las Vegas, where an instrumental version of Blue Moon played briefly in the background. Interestingly, Blue Moon is a term that refers to a second full moon occurring within a single calendar month, holding a unique significance. This celestial rarity lends its name to not only this song but also to other Elvis tracks, Blue Moon of Kentucky and When My Blue Moon Turns to Gold Again. Technically, a blue moon isn't blue at all, except in the world of unrequited love, as depicted in the poignant lyrics of Richard Rodgers. Once in a Blue Moon, indeed, takes on a whole new meaning when viewed through the lens of this timeless ballad. But what transformed Blue Moon from an oddity in Elvis's repertoire to a cherished classic in the hearts of many fans? It was the magic of cinema that played a pivotal role in reshaping perceptions of this song. In 1990, during a screening of Joe versus the Volcano, the use of Elvis's recording of Blue Moon in the soundtrack sparked an epiphany for one viewer. Suddenly, the song that had once irritated him became a source of admiration, thanks to its placement in a major Hollywood movie. The psychological impact of its inclusion in the film led to a newfound appreciation for Elvis's interpretation. The theater's acoustics breathed new life into the song, making it sound better than ever before. While Blue Moon may not have become the listener's favorite Elvis track, it now held a special place in their heart. Elvis's choice to record Blue Moon was indeed unexpected, given his early rockabilly style. The song's origins trace back to 1933 when Rodgers and Hart composed it during their MGM contract, but it never found a home in any of the intended films. It took a shift in lyrics and a change in title to Blue Moon in 1934 for the song to finally gain commercial release and become the enduring classic we know today. A plethora of artists, including Louis Armstrong, Sam Cooke, Billie Holiday, Bob Dylan, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Bobby Vinton, Rod Stewart, and Eric Clapton, have added their own renditions to the song's illustrious history. However, prior to Elvis, only Mel Torme's version managed to make it onto Billboard's charts, reaching number 20 in April 1949. Elvis's early exposure to the song as a Memphis teenager likely played a role in his decision to record it. Biographer Peter Guralnick suggests that Elvis, Scotty Moore, and Bill Black made an initial attempt to record the song in July 1954. The sole verified recording session for Blue Moon took place on August 19, 1954, at Sun Studio, with Elvis, Scotty, Bill, and Sam Phillips present. The resulting version was unlike anything Elvis had recorded before, featuring an eerie and clippity-clop quality reminiscent of other musical styles of the era. Elvis's adaptation of the song involved omitting the bridge and final verse, crafting a haunting 16-bar blues that conveyed a sense of longing and solitude. Although Sun Records didn't release Elvis's take on Blue Moon, it found a home on RCA Records when they acquired his contract in late 1955. Ultimately, Blue Moon became a chart phenomenon, enduring an unconventional journey on the Billboard charts and solidifying its place in Elvis Presley's storied career, marking the transformation of an unlikely song into a timeless classic. What is distinctive about Elvis Presley's recording of Blue Moon? No backing vocals. Who produced Elvis Presley's Blue Moon? Sam Phillips. What is missing in Elvis's version of Blue Moon that is usually prominent in others? Bridge. Which of these is a line from Elvis's Blue Moon? All of the above. Elvis's version of Blue Moon was recorded in which studio? Sun Studio. What unusual vocal technique does Elvis use in Blue Moon? Falsetto. Elvis's Blue Moon was used in the soundtrack of which 1980s movie? Blue Velvet. Which Elvis album that includes Blue Moon has his earliest known recordings? Elvis Presley. Which of the following characters is not mentioned in the lyrics of Blue Moon? A loved one. What does the Blue Moon eventually turn into in the song? A smiling moon.